This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s named horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is my 21st 100th interview, and I am so friggin' excited. I never thought I was going to get past 10, and I know you've all heard it a million fucking times, but I still got to continue saying it. Oh my god, happy 21st 100th birthday to me. I will be talking to the beautiful, the talented, the hilarious Andrea Paige Wilson, who played Whitney in Rock and Roll High School Forever, and she will be my 6th guest from that movie, and I cannot wait. I've been waiting a long time for this. Her and I have been talking on the phone the last couple of weeks in preparation for this, which I usually don't like doing, but I'll make an exception here and there. And I can't wait. She started out as a dancer on Kids Incorporated, and she danced here and there in different things, and she's had an interesting career. You know, she choreographed and was a dancer in the Walter Matthau, Jack Lemmon movie Out to Sea. You know, she had to do with something regarding Jim Carrey's The Mask. She briefly told me about it the other night. I'm going to ask for more information on that, and it's going to be a great conversation today, and I can't wait. She also writes poetry. We haven't talked about that at all, so I'm going to ask her about that as well, and I cannot wait, and I am just so blessed beyond blessed, as this is my last full week of doing podcasts. I have a couple more next week before hiatus starts for my moving, so it's going to be fucking spectacular. So yeah, here is my interview with Andrea Paige Wilson.
Hello.
Hey Andrea, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thanks, I'm good. I'm a little groggy and tired. Got my tired voice going, but I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for being my 2100th interview today. This is such an honor.
Oh my god. That makes me feel terrible. I'm so sorry.
Why?
It's taken forever, but we're doing it finally.
Yes, finally. You know, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So
what's going on, man?
So going back in time, what age did you start gravitating toward dancing?
Oh, Lord, here we go. Way back in time, because I am a dinosaur. So, my mom put me in dance at 5. I did martial arts. My dad was my sensei. Amazing. Crazy martial artist. 4th degree black belt. Was supposed to go to the Olympics for, I believe, judo in Japan for the USA team in 69, I think. Yeah, so my mom put me in dance just to kind of get to know my body and be comfortable. And then around 10, and then we did some competitions. But back then, there really weren't any competitions. Thank God, because, yeah, it's way too competitive and ridiculous now. But, and then, yeah, I just started taking dance classes I was born and raised native here, which is rare, in Whittier, California. So did that. And then I think around 10, I don't even know how, but someone saw me. I think she was from the Beverly Hecht Agency. And she said, "Look at those gams on that girl." And I was like, "What are gams?" I was like, "Am I a ham? Like, is she? Are my legs huge?" And she was like, "She needs to be in TV and film." And I was like, "Oh, Mom, please," because I knew from before, you know, just being obsessed with, you know, acting and all of that. I was not somebody that would read books, novels, or anything. I was way too, you know, I was a mover. A dancer. I was a mover and just couldn't sit still. And now I realize, oh, that's ADHD. That's what that's called. But thank God, because I just started reading scripts and reciting children's poetry. And then was like, I want to act, I want to dance, I want to sing. And back then, and I still think today, you kind of need to be, they call it the triple threat. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So I think I got my first job at 10 or 11 for, I think it was it Vernon's ginger ale?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was my first real job, my commercial. That was pretty rad.
Yeah, oh my God, you must have been shaking like a leaf on a tree, though, because it was your first time.
Yeah, although I think I just remember being so excited that I would get it looked like a rash, but just discoloration, like on my chest and on and then my face would get red, my ears would get red. So like blotchy skin. So I would always wear like high t-shirts or high, leotards, the boat neck leotards, and to hide it. So I was like, why is this happening? Stop it. You want to be here. But my parents were so supportive and loving, and they were like, okay, well, I mean, if you really want to try it and do it. My mom actually, from what they told me now, maybe they were just teasing, but I don't think so, because she looked just like her. My mom was a dancer. I have pictures of her dancing, and she looked like Shirley Temple, and they wanted her to be sort of the next Shirley Temple. And I think my grandparents said, no, because there were absolutely no child labor laws back then.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it was really cool for my mom, not a stage mom at all, like the complete opposite. My whole family was just so supportive of it.
That's good.
And and so I was just lucky, and I worked my ass off, but I was lucky and got in with the right group. And it just led me from one to the other. I'm trying to think, who was it? It was Debbie Allen. Mm-hmm. Was the choreographer on that commercial. And I think she might have come to the set once. She had Eartha Robinson, who I have so many full circle moments. She ended up being on a show called Dancing to the Hits with me. Mm-hmm. When I was 14, I did the pilot, 15, 16, and we were sort of in like the competition with Solid Gold, but it was just the dancers show with like one artist that would come on. So that was incredible.
Wow.
And then at 12, I got Kids Incorporated. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who was in your crew of child actors, of friends that you grew up with?
Oh gosh. It's funny. It's such a small, it really is such a small industry. In LA, let's see. Melora Hardin.
Yep.
Moosey Dryer. Ryan Lambert.
That's all Kids Incorporated, though, right?
That's all. Yeah, but even before then, so Wendy Brainerd, Tina Casberry.
Yep.
Dee Casberry, who then ended up going on and choreographing. Let's see, and Shawnee Smith from The Saw.
Yep.
Amongst other things. I'm trying to think of who else was in that group. We were in a group called Focus on Fame. My brother was in the group with us too. Mm-hmm. And that we were 10, 11, and then we all auditioned for Kids Incorporated, and Wendy and I got it.
Yeah.
Martika was in it too, and she got it. Jerry Sherrill. Who I'm trying to think of who else. So yeah, like the Coreys.
Yeah.
There was Moosey Dryer. Like there was I think even Evan. When I look back, I was like, Evan was around that time too. Like I've known Evan because we would all go to the same acting classes. I even think I might have. I know I've done something with Patrick. Mm-hmm. From Rock and Roll High School forever. I know I've done something other than that with him. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out what it is.
I could try to find it as we talk.
I know you can. I know you can. Do
you know Katie Barberi?
Gosh, y'all, I'm 53 now, so you're
or Tracy
brain.
Wells.
Oh, I know. So yeah, I know Tracy Wells. I knew
Yeah.
the little girl from, oh gosh, from Poltergeist
Oh,
that
Heather
unfortunately
O'Rourke.
passed. Yes, and her sister. I
Wow.
knew her sister really well. Um, Tracy Wells, Christina Applegate. We all danced together. Tracy Gold.
Yeah. Growing
Um,
pains.
yeah, we were up for that together. It was between the two of us. We both went to
Wow.
network on that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, and I think I was doing Kids Incorporated, and I couldn't get out of my contract. And also, my sister Sam. Do you remember that show, My Sister Sam?
Rebecca Schaefer.
Oh my God, you're amazing. Okay, so it was between Rebecca and me for that, and she ended up getting that. And God bless her, like that was a horrible thing what happened to her. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Ugh. But we'd see all the same people. Like we were always at the same auditions. Hey, what's up? Hey, Christina, how are you doing? Good. How are you? Everyone was friendly. It was a good group, and we would sneak out. And I don't know if anyone even remembers this. Like, is this just like a weird feverish dream? I don't know. But no, I have to look back. Did you ever look into Videopolis?
Oh no, God, I forgot that. I'm sorry.
Shame on you, Tommy. So Videopolis was at Disneyland, and Martika and all of us would sneak out. And so all like that, the whole group of like young actors would go and we'd hang out. Of course, no alcohol or anything there. I'm sure people were partaking before. I was not. That came later. No. So, but we would just go and dance and just have a blast. And I don't think it lasted for too long. I think we all got a little crazy, but it would get packed. It was such a fun time. It was such a good time.
Yeah, so was Kids Incorporated mostly a good experience? Nothing creepy happened on set or anything like that?
It was an amazing experience. In fact, I'm still in contact with, with Ryan. I'm in contact with Rasan, who's the kid in that. Not that I need to probably explain that to you or anyone else. Marta's, she went by Martika on her professional name, but I always called her Marta because she was in, I know, that's my dog. Sorry.
It's okay.
Nola.
In Leanne's first interview, there was birds chirping in the background. She has pet birds.
Another reason I didn't need to get to know her. I want a bird so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to get away from... Okay, I'm going to put you in the other room. I love you, Nola. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Go with Daddy. Nola. Okay. She's just like, I'm coming. I'm with you. I'm with you and Tommy. And the folks. Okay.
I'm looking up Videopolis. It lasted from 85 to 95. It's now the Fantasyland Theater.
Yes, it was that theater. They just had rock and music playing. Rock and music.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, what better time to grow up in than the 80s and 90s?
Hell yes.
I mean, I kind of like to say, like, we are the last sort of, like, non-PC...
Yeah.
Which I think is in some ways not great, but also, I mean, it totally, of course we're kind of screwed up and weird, and the music we listened to, and and it was like some of the best music, but things that you couldn't get away with back then.
Oh yeah.
Like we can never make Rock and Roll High School forever now. There's no way.
It's okay. We have it.
We have it. No one needs to make it again.
Oh my God! I gotta ask you about Stacey Ferguson. Did you know then she was going to be who she is now?
No, Stacey was I mean, everyone was so uber talented. These kids. So I was going to say I'm still in contact also with Tom Lynch, who is the producer. It just makes me so proud that I can, and lucky that I can. After all these years being 12, I did the first 3 seasons, so I was one of the originals. I didn't do the pilot, but I came in after that, and with Wendy Brainerd. And then Jerry Sherrill only lasted for a little bit. It was sad because we didn't know that you would age out. You could age out because we had Moosey there. It was a soda jerk, and he was our voice of reason. So I don't know. We didn't. Tommy kept us so protected. But yeah, I just reached out to him. We'll call each other and check in, and I'll call him and say, this is a voice from your past. The first time I called him and he was like, is this my favorite dancer? Is this my favorite producer? When he said, is this my favorite dancer? I said, it better be. If you say the wrong name, you're going to be in a lot of fucking trouble. But no, I did not know that Stacy was going to be Fergie. I can't call her Fergie. It's too hard. She was just so young. We would just kind of, Renee was amazing with her too. They were like brothers and sisters. We would have slumber parties. Mm-hmm. But I will say that we did call her, like, we would joke and say, okay, Spacey Stacy, come on. Because she was just in her own kind of world. Yeah. But she was, 8 or something crazy? I mean, she's amazing, She's a powerhouse. But Renee, Wild Orchid, I followed them for a little bit. We've all been trying to get a hold of Renee. Nobody can find her. I mean, I believe she's happily married and great, but she just kind of stays quiet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we had great times, slumber parties, and Ryan was my first official boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand why they had, for the first episode, it's like, why am I wearing this really ugly kind of gray-brown wig? Yeah. What's going on? And, then to make sure it stayed on my head, because I was dancing, this ridiculous, headband, sweatband, around my forehead to keep it on. Yeah. And realized in the second episode, oh, you're the graffiti kid. I was like, oh. So they were I think they had the idea of, bringing in the dancers. We were already there, but sort of introducing us on our own, to be, so it wasn't just the dancers versus the singers, It never felt that way to us either. It felt very inclusive, which was pretty cool. Yeah. So, and they were so protective and so amazing. My only bad thing that happened was our acting coach that we had. We all would go and take regular classes from him. Yeah. Outside of Kids Incorporated. And this is back, Terrence Hines, I'm going to call him out, Terrence Hines. We were taking classes, I think, during Focus on Fame way back then. Mm-hmm. I think it was in the back of his, he had a garage converted, I think, into a little black box theater. Uh-huh. My poor mom, I bought her a TV so she could sit in the car and watch TV. It was plugged into the lighter. My mom with her rabbit ears. She just was amazing. Anyway, she gave up her teaching career for me for 30 years. I don't know. So, yeah, but I remember I was doing a scene from Night Mother, and he had me go up to do the scene with him, and he just out of nowhere wailed and smacked the shit out of the side of my face. And I was like, what? Everyone went, oh! It was an audible gasp. And I was like, what? And I cried the whole way home, was trying to keep it from my mom, and my brother was like, this is what happened. And I'm sure she had many things to say to him. And then they brought him on, and I'm sure my mom probably talked to Tommy and said, look, I don't remember him being on that long as our set. I can't, that's something Moosey would probably remember, because, Moosey was older, interested in learning and directing as well, and he actually directed a couple of episodes, The Soda Jerk. So,
did that show lead to the thing you told me about Michael Jackson?
Oh gosh, no, that came a lot later.
Okay.
Just auditioning for Michael for one of his tours. So Kenny Ortega was doing, he did Michael Jackson's tours. I think a few
And he
of
directed
them.
Hocus Pocus.
And he did This Is It. He was Kenny's major. So yeah, so I ended up. So when I was on Kids Incorporated, it kind of was interesting how it all led. So there is this dance studio called Debbie Reynolds that Debbie Reynolds owned it, and it was. It was just like a second home. In fact, I have a piece of the floor because after COVID, they tore it down, and they like were selling little pieces of the floor, and I got one, and they inscribed Debbie Reynolds Studio 1979 to 2018. And I was like, I'm sure I danced on every single piece of every room in those wooden floors. So I have that on my wall with my point shoes hanging on it, actually. So we would rehearse Kids Incorporated there sometimes. I rehearsed, it was on a show called Dancing to the Hits. I left Kids Inc. to do Dancing to the Hits, where I met a whole slew of choreographers. That was like one of the best things that could have happened.
Michael Peters.
And Michael Peters. Arlene Phillips was the one that sort of did, I think it was Top of the Pops, and she's from England, from Europe, and that was a big show back there, back then. And she came out here, and the producer, Carol Rosenstein, and Bruce Gowers, they were married. Bruce Gowers is one of the...
Oh, I can tell you what he directed. Richard Pryor Live in Concert.
Yes, everything. He directed all of the show, all of the, award shows.
Michael Jackson's Rock With You
concerts,
video.
Everything.
Yeah.
I called them my, fairy godparents for a long time, because they introduced me. We had choreographers that would come in after Arlene pulled me in. I was going to say it's kind of a long story, but I'll try and make it quick. So we were rehearsing, from what I remember. They were having a big audition. This happened to me twice at Debbie Reynolds. We were rehearsing Kids Inc. They had an audition for Dancing to the Hits. Mm-hmm. And Arlene sent this guy, Andy, who was in production, out to, who was not wanting to work with kids, because Bruce and Carol also did kid songs. So I think he was really happy to have an adult show where he didn't have to deal with set teachers and all the kids' hours and the minors, And I never emancipated. My mom was a teacher. I loved having my mom there. I wanted to be a kid. I did not want to emancipate. I didn't want to be able to go, to be able to, or not be able to, but to have people have me on set without my mom and that protection. I just innately knew that, no, I want my mom with me. She's like my bud, and she's amazing. And everyone called her Jer Bear. Everybody loved her. Mario Lopez actually called her Queenie. That was her nickname. And my dad, getting back to Kids Inc. for a minute, my dad, every time he would come on the set, he provided all the sound equipment, because he was vice president of PV Electronics, sound equipment, So I grew up around the music industry with Journey, sitting on the lap of Steve Perry and Sean. And
I'm a San Francisco guy. I love Journey. I saw them 10 years ago with Steve Miller.
Yeah, and then Randy Jackson later, when he came in, he was actually our producer. He was he got us a demo deal. We got our demo deal, but Randy was, he was with MCA at the time, and then they moved him to Sony, and then we kind of got lost in the shuffle. Yeah. But my brother and I had a band first called Black House Blue Sky. We played all over. And I'm sorry I'm going around in circles, but This is exactly how my life went. It was just so lucky. You're here, then you meet this person here while you're working on this person, they want you to come in. So anyway, then they want you to do this, then yes, you would get it. And it was then I would meet other people, and then the same thing would happen again. And I was so my dancing evolved more than my acting. Although while I was dancing, they would give me parts, lines here and there, and actual names, as one of the characters, like on Hull High. I was Dana Cleater, the slut of the show.
Yeah.
Which was funny because I was Dana Cleater. I looked it up. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was right, 1990 when we did the movie. So I was going from that to the movie, back and forth. Mm-hmm. And somehow the timing just was magical and worked out. But I was the slut, like making out with my real boyfriend on the set in every scene. Yeah. and then dancing and singing and doing all the fun stuff with Kenny Ortega. And that group of dancers and that group of friends who were amazing. A lot of the guys went on to do Newsies.
Right.
Anyway, and we'll get into that in a minute because I know you know a lot of people from Hull High.
Yep.
I know your brain right now is like, you want to jet out. I can hear it. You want to jet out, like roll out 15 names.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. So, but going back to dancing, rehearsing, Arlene said, bring her in. She said, can you do me a favor? They were having an open call. These are people in their 20s. I was 13 at the time. And she said, I was like, hi. I always kind of had I just loved what I did. So I just kind of always had the attitude of, oh, I'm happy to be here. What can I do to help? Because my mom taught me, you're just a cog in the wheel. You're and I knew that. Like, I had so much respect. I knew everybody's name. Now, if they're going to fail me, but I knew like I would go around and say good morning to the whole crew because they were brilliant at what they did. And I knew we all had to work together. We had nothing. So there was nobody that was higher or lower, or that's just how my parents raised me, how Tommy raised us on Kids Incorporated. Very protective of us. He was amazing. And so was Kenny Ortega, by the way. Mm-hmm. He was fantastic. And Michael Peters. I was just lucky. And I was young. When I went on from Kids Inc., I was the young one of everything for a while. So now it's weird to be the old lady to all the young kids. Anyway, so I went in and I helped Arlene, and she was like, just act like a little schoolgirl walking across, and the guys are going to like fall and do their choreography. And I said, okay, do you have like a ruler, a prop? And so she said, yeah. They gave me a pencil or something, acted like it was a ruler. And I just walked across and like flirted and laughed with the boys. And I was so shy. But when it came to doing stuff like that, I think it was just a way for me to live out the other parts of myself that I was too shy and too embarrassed to allow people to see in real life. So I got to play make-believe and dress up and have all of these fun experiences, and realized too, like when I was doing that, it was like church for me. It was like a direct source to spirit, God, spirit, universe. I was just like, boom, in it. And the world just kind of fell away, and I just was having a blast. And I was even assisting Doreen Gressman, the choreographer for Kids Incorporated, for a while. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. Like, I would come on and help, I would help the actors, integrate them, like Stacy and Renee and Rasan and everybody, integrate them into the piece and help move Stacy along or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So, so anyway, so I went in there, and then I just found out I'm finding these things out now, later in life. Mm-hmm. A good friend of mine, Bill Holden, who became like he was my best friend, on Dancing to the Hits. And again, they were all in their 20s. And when we did the pilot, I was 13. Right. 14. Went to NAFD convention. We got the show sold. They sold it. I have a great picture with Byron Allen and my big, huge hair. So I went from like Kids Inc. to like dressing in like lingerie, but they would make me the cute little bride, covered, always covered up. And we just did all of these like great dances and sketches, and not sketches. After a while, we called it dancing to the skits, because it was when a certain choreographer that I pulled in from the other show, she sort of turned it into, I think she was done working with kids too, so I got pushed out and didn't really get to do a lot of the cool pieces. Yeah, that was a bummer. But yeah, so I went in there, and so Bill Holden finally told me, my best friend, after all these years, we found each other again, and he said, Andrea, I drove out from Oregon. That was my first open call audition I'd ever had. We thought you were like already cast, like the star of Kids are Dancing to the Hits, and they were trying to pair us with you. And I was like, no, I was just there to help. I didn't even know Arlene. I didn't know any of them. I didn't know Bruce. I didn't know anybody. Mm-hmm. And then Arlene saw me and went over, and Arlene and I see them huddling, and they all got together and pitched this, let's bring her in and do like a 17 magazine. And
they were cuddling?
Like they made a thing of making me the young one. So 17 magazine, and like they were going to put me, they went outside. I remember the guy, Andy, who was in production, said to my dad just told me the story the other day, ironically. He was like, he came out and said, are you Andrea Paige Wilson's parents? And he said, yeah, I'm her father, and my mom, Jerry, I'm her mom. And he said, I got to tell you something. I mean, yeah, she's great, but I really hope I'm sorry, but I really hope she doesn't get this. I really hope. They're talking about wanting her to be on the show, and they're like, what? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I just don't want to deal with set teachers. And he was just not shy at all about saying how he felt about it, apparently. I wasn't there, thank God. I didn't hear that part. I would have been like,
yeah,
all backed out. Actually, I would have probably just stuck by Arlene's side and said, what else do you want me to do? Because she did Starlight Express. She was amazing. She's done so many things. And we've still been in contact on Facebook.
Nice.
I'll wish her happy birthday. And anyway, we visited her years later in England. But so, yeah, they Bruce Gowers, and that's how I got to be with Bruce Gowers and Carol. And we did that for 9 months, I believe. We did the pilot, it got picked up, and then we did it for 9 months. I feel like I've done most things for 9 months, like long enough to birth the baby.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
Birth that baby, moving on.
Tell me what Totally Mini was.
Oh, okay. So So again, was doing probably Dancing the Hits or something. So Greg Smith was the casting director, agent director for dancers. He and Kenny Ortega, the great Kenny Ortega, and great Greg Smith, although we lost Greg. That was heartbreaking. He passed away several years ago. But Kenny Ortega's awesome, going strong and still doing his thing. This is when Kenny was mostly choreographing at the time. So he was holding an audition for a show called Totally Mini for Disney, so a lot of Disney for me. Mm-hmm. Disney, and also, he'd hold like one big audition, and then he would pick people for the different things, which is very smart because he was nonstop. And then I believe Gloria Estefan video. And what was the other thing that he was something else he was Totally Mini, Gloria Estefan, and something else that he was maybe Cher. And
Suzanne Summers and Robert
for
Carradine.
Maybe Dirty Dancing, the series. Because I was too young for the movie, but I did the series.
Okay.
And so, again, they saw me, pulled me in. Greg Smith pulled me in. I auditioned and became part of Kenny's crew. And I started assisting Kenny at 13 with Liz Imperio, another amazing dancer.
Yep.
Who was my age. And we did all these fantastic shows with Kenny. And so Totally Mini was was the first thing I did with Kenny. So it was really cool. Yeah. So Carradine was in it.
Sweet guy. I met him once.
The sweetest and so nice. It was amazing. It was so cool. And here you go, Tina Casberry.
Yes.
So Tina and I got to work together again, which was cool.
I hope I get to interview her. I love My Mom's a Werewolf.
Oh, Tina's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, there was, when we were doing Kids Incorporated, or Focus on Fame, I will say, like, her parents were the ones that kind of produced the show. So every time I would get a compliment or something, I realized I would get pushed farther and farther back.
Yep.
I was told, like, you should never sing, she should never be a dancer or sing or act. And I was like, screw you, I'm doing all of them. Of course, we would have slumber parties at Tina's house. She had this amazing upstairs, huge, the whole upstairs area was like, we would go upstairs and dance, and it was like a game room, and we'd have slumber parties. So we were friends, but, a lot of the parents, it was, I think, mostly like parent drama, and my mom was so out of it. Like she was like, ugh. Now on Kids Incorporated, no, all the parents and all of, like, Loretta Rasson's aunt was there, amazing singer. She was trying to teach me how to sing. God bless her. Like, really sing like Rasson. Lost cause for me. I have a very soft, kind of pure voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Totally Mini was about all of the old footage that you don't get to see, you never really got to see, or you haven't been able to see in years. And Carradine played the geek, the dork. Like, how do I say this? I'm not going to do BPC. Was the dork, the goober, the geek, and Suzanne Summers, amazing woman, this total sweetheart, and hello. I mean, I watched Three's Company my whole life.
Hell yes.
So when I met her, I was like, ah! Ah! It was those moments. Although I think it was around the music industry with my dad for so long that the only one that I got really flustered by was when I met Huey Lewis.
Oh my God, I love that guy.
I had the biggest crush on him. I was literally sitting on my dad's lap. We went to San Francisco. They were recording. My dad was working with Mario, who is the bass player. Mario
Cipollina, I've had him on.
Yeah. Oh my! You have? Stop it!
I have. He's a great guy. Great guy.
Why did you have more? I mean, it's amazing, but okay.
I had him on because
I want to know more from you.
Because John Cipollina was the guitarist for Quicksilver Messenger Service, and I love that band.
My God.
And of course, Mario. Mario was always the funny guy in the music videos because he'd be Dracula or somebody because he's got those glasses on, those sunglasses.
Oh, the slicked hair, the tall.
Yeah.
I have. Okay, I'm going to send you a picture. I have a huge picture, but I'm going to take a picture and send it to you. I think, fresh out of maybe Kids Incorporated.
Yeah.
So little with the big hair.
With you and Huey Lewis in the News?
With me and Mario.
Oh, okay.
Just posing with me and Mario. No, I sat on my dad's lap. My dad is like, what is wrong with you? He said, you are like vibrating. I said, I've never been this nervous. I was shaking. I don't know why. I had the biggest crush on Huey Lewis. And I didn't like crush out on people. And I worked with Diana Ross, and like I ended up directing one of her later in life, worked with Kenny and Diana on the World Cup. And I was like a movement coach a lot for Kenny, for stars and stuff. So nothing really fazed me, right, growing up. I mean, I sat on Steve Perry's lap. They'd put us like I said, they would put us in their limo. I just remember they would always have watermelon. They'd put us in the limo, and they would say, drive the kids, or drive my brother and I around Irvine Meadows. And now I live in Irvine, and Irvine Meadows is no longer, sadly. It's just apartments.
That's when you know that they're good guys, when they give you watermelon. If it was candy, then they'd be pedophiles.
No, they were the sweetest, and everybody loved my dad and my mom and my grandpa and my grandma. They lived above us. They lived upstairs, and my grandpa, his nickname was Shorty, and everyone would just be like, he always wore his PV hat, and we had the PV van, and, because my dad he started as I'm going to get into my dad now. Yeah. He started as a West Coast, a salesman for the West Coast for PV. And he's the only one that went from that to, like, work, and they were based out of Meridian. But so my dad, a lot of my life was gone, like, maybe 2 weeks out of every month, But when my dad was home, my dad was there. He was dad all the way, and even when he was away, like, he would say, if I'm in a meeting, I don't care if it's a president, I don't care. If my kids, my family calls me, you put them through. So he and my mom and my brother were all like, and my Aunt Donna were all my biggest cheerleaders and my extended family and stuff. Yeah. And I was the only girl in the family for a long time. So I was also used to being around a lot of, like, my cousins and boys and my brother's friends. And so I was a bit of a tomboy and just wanted to follow my dad and do everything he did. So anytime I had with my dad, I was like, I'll hit the ball. I'll run with you guys. Let's play basketball and horse outside and baseball. But anyway, so yeah, he got to know, so the Tubes. Do you know the Tubes?
Hell yes, Fee-Way Bill.
Yeah, okay, so Kenny, there's another full circle.
Oh, yeah, he is.
I think I was like 7. Kenny was in the Tubes.
Oh, yeah, he worked with their shows, yeah.
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 So Kenny's on stage dancing in the Tubes, and my now acting teacher, Tony Attell, who is phenomenal.
I know Tony.
How do you know Tony Attell?
She's been on. She's the mime in Behind the Green Door, the porn movie.
She has the best. She's the best storyteller, by the way.
We called out Robert Shields on this podcast, that fucking asshole.
How are you? You and I are so crazily connected. Like, this is wild to me.
It's crazy.
I feel like I'm going to say, oh, my Aunt Kathy, and be like, I know your Aunt Kathy. You should know my Aunt Kathy. She's awesome.
What's her last name?
Smedley.
Doesn't sound familiar. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm just teasing, but no, you should know her. Anyway, so what was I saying? We were talking about. Get me back. My brain is in a million places. I'm like spiraling.
You're talking about the Tubes.
Tony. The Tubes. So my dad takes the equipment. I think he was like an A&R at this point. So he takes, everybody loves my dad, right? So we as a family, like, well, he dropped it off, and I remember being backstage, and they're like, hey Jack, we're in town, bring the kids. And he was like, is this a kid show? Oh, totally a kid show, bring them.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, so not a kid show.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say,
pretty much,
they had things hanging out from their short shorts.
Yeah.
Not real, but, it was wild. It was theater, rock theater at its finest, I thought.
I saw them in 2016.
Amazing.
I met them. I met them at the meet and greet.
And Tony was a mime for them.
Yeah.
Opening their show.
Yeah.
Oh, when I met Tony randomly at the Moose Lodge a few years ago in Burbank, because Deborah Ortega, I call her Duba, Kenny's sister, is a phenomenal singer, and she's actually helping, she has a group of kids that she works with as well, but a phenomenal singer, and she works with, she sings with her amazing band and knows everybody, of course. And so she was singing, and it was like country western. Yeah. And I went with my friend Jay. I don't know if he was there at this one, but anyway, she would ask Jay and I sometimes to come dance to get people dancing on the floor, you know, to get them going.
Yeah.
But I would just be in awe, like listening to her sing, and Kenny would come and we would have a great time, and I'd get him on the floor a couple of times. And anyway, and I met Tony randomly there. I was standing there and my hair really short, blonde short, and kind of looked, you know, it's like funky hair and overalls. And she said, "Excuse me." And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Do you want to sit down?" There's no place to sit. I was like, "Oh, thanks." And I sat down and I said, "I have to tell you, I hope you don't take this I hope you don't take offense to this, but you remind me, your energy and your look, you remind me of one of my all-time favorites, Lily Tomlin."
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, I know Lily Tomlin. We're friends."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, who are you?" And then she went over to Kenny, I guess, was talking to Kenny about me, and she tells everyone, "Oh, whenever," and now I take classes from her, but on Zoom. I wish I could go to UCLA and take classes from her, because she taught at USC for a while.
Yeah.
And then now she's at UCLA. And then she does, thank God, she does a Zoom class, and I get to do that. I tried to get, my daughter was going to do it, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, wait.
Yeah.
I haven't been, why am I not acting? Like, I couldn't dance for a long time because I had a chronic illness. I had Lyme disease. So it stopped me from dancing. I realized that in my late 20s. And so I really had to slow down, and I was teaching for 15 years as well as working. I was like in the prime and doing my singing with my brother. And it didn't stop me for a while, but then I just couldn't recover the way I used to. And first they said fibromyalgia, and then I got diagnosed with actual Lyme. They think I had it from when I was a baby. And just the stress and all of that, I just got too worn out, and it just kind of wreaked havoc. Anyway, so I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to dance again, and what am I going to do? And why in the hell did I stop acting? I don't know.
Yeah.
You tell me, Tommy. I don't know. I think I just caved for a while. But anyway, when I met Tony, my daughter was into acting, amazing actress, singer, dancer in her own right. Madeline Paige Medbits. You'll hear about her. She'll be huge one day.
Love it.
And my son Parker is a phenomenal trombone player, amongst other things.
Nice.
He's going to be major as well. Here it is. 16 and 18, and man, they've got it going on.
That's so awesome.
Anyway, so I'm all over the place, but God, you've taken me everywhere. But okay, so let me just tell you, as far as I'm going to go back to the tubes. I'm bouncing. Okay. But so hang around with me, Tommy. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Okay, good. So the tubes. So we went and saw the tubes. I was, I think, maybe 7, right? So we're sitting there, my brother and I, and my brother's in all his glory, like, yes. And I sat there with my mom's hand over my eyes, right. Except she would open her fingers, and watch the entire thing. And I was like, and trying to not, I was like, don't react, Andrea. Don't react, Andrea. Do not react. And from that point on, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be on stage. And then I saw something called Dreamgirls. Yep. An amazing Broadway show. Michael Peters assisted Michael Bennett, and I ended up being Michael Peters. Ended up being Michael Peters, one of his babies and assistants. Nice. He called me Girly. That was his name for me. And so, anyway, all these full circle moments. So I see Kenny up there, and then apparently Tony, and then Tony's like, oh yeah, I know the tubes. Like, what? And we did anyway. And then I'm like, wait, Kenny, you were in the tubes. Wait, what? I mean, this is years later I'm finding this out, because Kenny was getting an award. We were honoring him. It was like choreographer's award at the time. And Greg Smith, the casting director, like his brother, got all of us together from the different eras, and the tubes were there. a lot of the guys from the Tube showed up.
Yeah.
And I knew them, and I was like, I'm Jack Wilson's daughter. Oh my God, how's Jack? How's Shorty? How's your mom? I mean, it was wild. Nicest guys you can imagine. So the Tubes performed, we danced. I think I maybe played Madonna, Madonna doing Material Girl.
Marilyn Monroe, Jim.
The Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, I was always the token. Everything I was always the token blonde. That's kind of what I was always used for. So, so that was a crazy full circle moment. And I mean, between Journey and my dad worked with the Grateful Dead, and and at the time I was so young, it was just like, this is just life. This is what we do. I'd go home, and my different friends would be at my house hanging with my parents. I'm like, what are you doing here? Oh, hanging with my mom. Okay, cool. My parents were so rad. They would have birthday parties for our friends. If their parents didn't have a party for them, they'd throw a party together. I mean, come on. Blessed. I say blessed. I hate it when people say blessed, but I truly, truly, truly was.
Yeah. So tell me about Whole High.
Okay. So Whole High was so much fun. Amazing group. Most of the people I knew because we had already all worked together, or we took classes together, dance classes and acting classes. I didn't know, Hello, Marshall Bell was hilarious.
Yeah.
Exactly who he plays on the show is his personality.
Yep.
He's the most sarcastic, amazing human being.
Yep.
Dry as can be.
Yeah.
And a jokester with a straight face, which I grew up in a very funny, sarcastic family, and my dad and my mom were jokesters, and my brother, and so I was total. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you couldn't handle sarcasm and all of that, like in a great way, like you were out, you couldn't hang. But in the most loving of ways.
Yes.
So Whole High was a blast. I got to play Dana Cleater. So I was assisting. I was always like triple duty. Like I was assisting, dancing, and acting. So, and I got to sing on that. I had a solo. Like one of the episodes, we were going on a ski trip. And, of course, everyone's dressed in their parkas and everything, and I've got a short mini skirt and a tube top and heels and no shorts and a little top or whatever. And the bus breaks down on the way. And so it's like 100 degrees out, and Marshall gets stuck zipped up in his huge coat. And they can't, bus drivers, but they're like, what's wrong with the bus? Bus is broken down. Well, fix the bus. Can't leave the bus. It's like, go make a phone call. Can't leave the bus.
Yeah.
So we're stranded. So we all got to play. It was, I don't remember where we shot it, but it was so beautiful. We got to, we took our luggage. They had us going down the hill, like a sled, on, the luggage was like sleds. And the teachers were doing it. They played the teachers. Amazing. Cheryl Pollack, a lot of people were in it.
Yep.
You can name them. You rattle them off. Go. Trey Parker.
Holly Fields, Nancy Vallon.
Yep.
Did you know Rodney Eastman?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so everyone knows him. Everyone knows him for being a mute in the Freddy Krueger movies, but in real life, you can't fucking shut him up. He has a loud voice. When I went to go meet him at a con, right? And
he's a sweetheart.
I expected him to be very soft-spoken and very sensitive, like his character in the movie, but the guy was just like, "Yo, what's up?"
Oh yeah, you knew when he came on set.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's here. Hi, what's up? Yeah. No, it was so much fun. And there was the set of rappers, the group of rappers that went through. It was so fun. It was, but we only got to do like 5 or 6 episodes because Parker Lewis was on, and they slammed us in the ratings.
Do you remember a writer on the show, Sean Sheps? Heavyset girl, Jewish.
I don't, because I was really helping Kenny a lot. Liz and I were assisting Kenny, as well as being in it. So I would, and I was also then, like I said, going and doing our lovely movie.
Well, she was a child actress in the 70s. She was on the Brady Bunch and the Waltons and whatever.
Oh, no way!
And then she was Linda Hamilton's friend in The Terminator, who tells her that she's going to be the next Sarah Connor to die. And then she became... Okay, so she did a one-woman show. And Michael Eisner saw it and liked her writing style so much on stage that he hired her to be a writer on Whole High, and then that led to her writing Encino Man and Son-in-Law for Pauly Shore, and she used to work for his mother at the Comedy Store.
Stop it!
Yeah,
who was she in the Brady Bunch? That was my favorite.
Oh, she just guest starred. She was probably one of Jan's classmates or something.
Jan's friends,
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marsha.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that show.
I do
wow. Too. See, and as an adult, I just went, because I was going from thing to thing, and sometimes I was doing like 5 jobs at the same time.
Yeah. And
then teaching or taking classes in between, trying to keep my chops up, or auditioning for acting roles, you know? So it was hard. And like, as far as like Rock and Roll High School Forever goes, that was such a, I mean, it was
it a
like
standard,
everybody else says.
Was it a standard audition for you, though?
Oh, okay. So I go in to audition, first just casting.
Yeah.
And I went into audition for Stella, for Leanne's part.
Right.
Which I was excited, because I was like, oh, yeah. Hello. My sick brain. Like, what kid grows up loving Mommy Dearest? I watched it incessantly.
Yep.
I knew every line. Christina. No wire hangers ever. Yeah. So that and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Like I was.
Oh yeah,
I was shy, but I love the dark horror movies and the dark movies, and also Singing in the Rain. Did not like cartoons, except love to learn them, or learned to love them, I should say.
I'm a cartoon guy.
I loved watching Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Like the originals, I watched the Flintstones, Bugs Bunny. Oh my gosh, I watched a lot of like. Do you remember Land of the Lost? Yeah, remember Land of the Lost?
Land of the Lost with the Croft brothers. Yeah, I've had Sid Croft on the show.
Okay, I worked for Sid and Croft.
Really?
So I think at one point they did the puppets with the presidents.
Yes. What was that show called? Had Fred Willard.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I went on, I was like, what is this? It was one of those, just go and do it. And I was like, okay, my agent was like, go and do this thing. So I did Sid and Marty Krofft, yeah. And it was the presidents, and I went in and I was like dancing and talking between them. I had no idea what it was. I couldn't even tell you. So that's another thing I'm going to put you on, Tommy. You've got to figure this out for me.
It was the DC Follies.
Yes.
Yes.
Your brain, you are like the best historian ever.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, I was 9. I was 9 the first time I saw Rock and Roll High School Forever. It was on Cinemax, and I've loved it ever since. It'll never stop being funny to me. I saw the original a few years later, and I loved it just as much. Had you seen the original when you signed on?
God bless you. No. Although I loved the Ramones.
Yes.
I mean, when I heard, the Ramones were in it, I was like, oh, I love the Ramones.
Yeah.
But so I went to audition for it, and I auditioned for the other part, which I was super stoked to audition for that. And, they only give you the sides. You don't get the script. So they only give you a couple pieces of paper to read. And so you don't really know exactly what's going on, because I didn't see the original. But I was like, that's kind of wacky and interesting. And I didn't know Corey was doing it at the time.
Yeah.
I heard talk about Corey's, and I was hoping it was the other of the two Corey's. That's another story we'll get into. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Why the jacket? Why still the jacket? Anyway, I'll go there in a second.
I don't know.
So I read, and the casting lady said, okay, hang on a minute. I get halfway through, and I'm like, oh, she hates me. She's like, and I thought, I bombed this one. Everything you go on, typically, most actors will say, oh, I think I bombed it. That's the one you get. Mm-hmm. So I went on. I went in there, read. She was like, wait. I want you to read this part instead. I'm like, oh, here we go with another cold reading. So I was pretty good at cold readings at that point. So I go outside, do it, and I was like, okay, can you give me some info about this character? I don't know anything about her. And she's like, oh, yeah, she's got, do it more like, very like stick up your ass kind of. I'm sure she didn't say those words at the time. Yeah. Since I was, I think, 17. Was it? No, wait. It was in 19... Did we film it in 1990 or it came out in 90?
91. May of 91.
91. So, okay. So I'm December. So, yeah. So I was a little bit older. So, yeah, because Hull High was 90 and 90.
It was the fall of 90.
Around that same time. Yeah. In fact, I wrote it down last night. I wrote down dates for you.
Nice.
Yep. So I read for Whitney, and I was like, oh, she's so, she's an awful human being. Yeah. And then I thought, well, this could be fun. I'm a slut, and I'll just be a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not going to get it. And I got the phone call. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, Kenny, I got to do this I got a movie. What? He was like, good, baby. That's great. I'm like, can we work out the times? So I was like racing. So I didn't get to spend plus, okay, so it was, the bummer about it, right, was that the Eradicators were all super close. Yeah. And I wanted so badly I knew Evan, and I wanted so badly to like get to know them. Yeah. But I was kind of like, they had their click, Yeah. I don't remember a table read or anything. It's really strange. And I think Patrick mentioned a table read, but I don't remember that. Uh-huh. I had other table reads, but I don't remember that one. But then I just remember going on. It was my first movie, and our lovely, amazing director on that was
Deborah Brock.
Deborah was so cool, but she was so, like, everyone says the same thing. She just let you do your thing. Right. Which was fine, but as a dancer / assistant / I'm so used to direction that I'm used to, you hit your marks, and I was like, where's the mark? What's happening? Who am I fighting? Like, when I got on to the school on set, I'm like, where are the honey wagons? Do I have a honey wagon? I don't know what's in my contract. Oh my God, I'm Whitney. When I think I just stood there, I was like, I'm Whitney. I think I probably went up to one of the security guards. Mm-hmm. You know their names.
Michael Muntz and Charles Noland.
Michael Muntz was one of the funniest.
Yeah.
They were both amazing. They played off of each other. Yeah. I would just sit there and laugh my ass off. And by the way, of course, when I actually did the movie, the day that I had most of my lines where I walk up and it's I'm like, what are they playing? And what is who's that band? Like, who hired that band? You did, Sweetums.
Fats Domino wrote it. Bill Haley in the comments used to do it.
Oh my God!
I interviewed Bill Haley's son, and I brought up that scene.
That's so really?
Yeah.
So that was from the original?
Well, no. It's from yours, but I brought that up because I'd never heard his dad's version of the song, and he said there may be a bootleg out there, but I'd never heard it.
Oh, that's funny. I was like, what are they playing? Stick to the playlist. Anyway, right. So, oh my God, and that dress, everything about it, I was like, oh my God, the dress that I wore at the very end. Yeah. I think that was a dress that I wore in something else, and like they put that crazy hairpiece on me, and I was like, and never in a million. I mean, the whole thing was so cartoonish, but I was like, never in a million years would I think. The light pink one was appropriate. Mm-hmm. My polka dot jacket, I stole. That was appropriate. That was appropriate for Whitney, buttoned up.
Yeah.
But the other, like, piece of work, burgundy long for the prom, the end when the whole school blows up, when my head blows up on the video, which is my brother's favorite part. He's like, I love it when your head blows up.
Right.
Yeah, the barfing scene, they literally fire hosed it. Like, I now know the meaning of fire hose. Like, they put the hose next to my mouth.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're like, just open your mouth. I'm like, okay, this is going to be so cheesy. And then, but I was like, okay, we're just going to go with it. Because, okay, I'm not a special effects person. But I remember tasting some, I was like, is that oatmeal? What is that? And this, whatever, I think it was like, I don't know what Corey, I didn't know
he kissed you with food in his mouth.
No, they had those, it was, like Pop Rocks and like, Pepto-Bismol, like the fizzy. Oh.
Don't wait up, honey.
Not Pepto-Bismol. And yeah, so when I was genuinely, like, that was a sincere, what?
Yeah.
Because that was not written.
It worked well for the character, though.
Oh, I mean, when he did it, I was like, at first I was like, oh, you fucker, I was like, ugh! And it went in my mouth. And I was like, trying to, and I thought, I hope he gets sick. I had 103 temperature. I was like, maybe he'll get sick. That's horrible. That's a horrible thing for me to say. But horrible, Andrea. He deserved it.
It's funny, though. It works for the characters, though.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, thank God he did it.
He also ripped your skirt.
It was a moment of...
He also ripped your skirt off when he's skateboarding.
That was planned. Yeah, that was definitely planned. In fact, when I was watching, I watched two other people critiquing it. Yeah. It was the funniest. They were like, why are we watching this movie? Because I wanted to watch the movie. I don't know who these guys are, but they have their own, show on YouTube. And they were like, this is the dumbest movie on the planet. This is the worst movie. And they were hysterical watching it. But, I mean... I know you love it. Yeah. And the cult class. I mean, I mean, I'm proud to say I was in a cult classic. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm really proud. Yeah. And it was like everyone else. It was my first acting like movie on my own, like having that much to do. And I didn't even feel like, I wish I had more to do because I loved doing it so much. The only bummer was, of course, because what was working so hard got sick. Yeah. And so I have the really weird, you can hear the cold and the deep voice. My voice wasn't typically, or like nasally, wasn't typically that, at that stage in my life, I still had a little bit of like baby fat on my face. Yeah. Oh, you looked adorable, by the way. You were a cutie. Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks. Cutie. I look at it and go, ugh. I'm always like, no profiles, please. I don't like, I've had my nose broken 3 times. I'm like, no profiles. But I will say, so it was a bummer because they were clicking, like kind of, they had their click. And I was like, oh, are we just method acting? Like, guys, can we all hang out? But I was too shy to like go up and hang out with them. I was still kind of shy and like, and I would just kind of, I would get my call time and they'd say, go into makeup and you're sitting in the makeup, whatever. And then I'd go to my honey wagon because it was hot and, whatever. And then come out of the trailer when it was time to do our stuff. And like even Margaret. Laura Lyon. Yeah, Laura, she was a sweetheart. We would just like talk here and there, but all of us, honestly, we weren't, everyone has different call times. And so we were all there at different times and we would just be there to do the scenes. And then they would let us go. And so I was like, well, I want to hang out with, when I heard everyone on your show, especially Leanne, I was like, wait, I didn't know. I do remember her breastfeeding or lactating. I remember her making a thing, and I thought she was joking. Really? And then I remember them going, ew! Like Evan tasted it or something. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know that story. Yeah. Yeah, and he was like, oh, it's sweet. And she was like, "What, you freak?"
Yeah.
Just fun of whatever. She was everyone's big sister. I do remember that. Like,
Jason Lively, he was one of the older ones.
I love
acting.
Jason Lively.
He'd been acting for a long time. He was in European Vacation and Night of the Creeps. What was he like?
He was awesome.
Uh-huh.
He kind of kept to himself a little bit, but he was cool. He was very professional. Very professional. Like the guy who played I don't know his name. Who played I don't even remember his character's name. Who played my boyfriend?
Oh, Ben Alexander.
Ben Alexander. What else was he in?
Let me look it up.
Wait, see, I did the movie knowing that this is how I was. I knew that I knew Jason because I grew up loving Vacation.
Yep.
And didn't realize that was him.
Ben Cleveland. I'm sorry, not Alexander. It's Cleveland.
Ben Cleveland.
Yes, he was in Attack of the 50-Foot. He was in Attack of the 50-Foot Woman with Daryl Hannah. He was on China Beach. He was in the Liberace TV movie. Stuff like that.
Wow,
yeah.
He really went on.
Well, he quit acting in '93, and then he did another movie last year, his first one in 30 years. I wonder what he did in between.
Look at we're the two of us are making our comebacks.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want the cast to get together. I really do. Like, I want to go to one of the. I was like, why do we not go to like the
Comic-Cons?
I don't know. Was it the Comic-Cons? Yeah. Why do we not do like the?
I don't know.
Those kind of things. Like, it would be so much fun for all of us. Like, I would fully go dressed as Whitney.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be a lot of fun.
At 53, I think it would be hysterical. I mean, I'm all about it. Come on, I think it would be so much fun. Or just get us together and let's like hang out. Like, let's have a slumber party, guys. I know we're all really old, but. Let's talk about it because now I want to be able to get to know you guys.
Yeah.
And I was right. So Stephen was Donatello later. He was one of the Ninja Turtles later.
He was. And Corey was Donatello in voice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yo, Corey. Can we get to Corey again?
Talk about Corey.
Okay. You're going to make me do this. All right, I'm going to do it. All right. So, I was going to say with love, no. I can't do it.
Love it.
I can't do it.
Love it.
I can't. Okay. So, I was actually fine with Corey. I mean, I knew Corey, and I had been introduced. Corey was one of those people, because he had his issues. He was doing some heroin. He had his issues, right? So, love me some Haim, though. So that was heartbreaking. And he would have been so good in it. Anyway, whatever. Wasn't he going to play Evan's part?
No. Corey Haim was going to be Evan's part.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Corey Haim. Yeah. But Evan was amazing. And Tabitha, I loved her character.
Bryn Horrocks.
Yes.
I'm going to reach out to her next.
Cute.
Yeah.
She was so cute, and she was shy, and she kind of kept to herself the whole time. I actually went over, she was sitting by herself against the wall, I remember, by the lockers, and I went over and I was like, how's it going? And she's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she's like fully in character. And I was like, oh, I don't want to break her character. And I realized, oh no, that's just who she is. Because my character was so different from me. I was the sarcastic, but I certainly was not the uptight bitch,
Yeah.
I mean, some people might call me a bitch, but that's for other reasons. Anyway, so so Corey was okay. Yeah. Except I knew him for years, and every time he would see me, I would say, "Hey, Corey, what's up?" He'd be like, "Who are you?" And you are? And I'm like, fuck your face. Like, what?
Yeah.
Fuck off, dude. Eat a bag. I can't. Like,
yeah.
Stop snorting, dude.
Yeah.
And you'll remember.
Brown boogers.
Yeah, stop with the brown boogers. The brown boogers. Oh my God, Leanne talking about those is so funny. Yeah. And Patrick talked about it too. I was like, what am I going to say to Tommy about Corey? I don't want to be mean.
You don't have to be. You
know what? Yes, I do. He deserves it.
No, but I mean, like, like, don't think you have to, like it's mandatory or anything.
I don't. No, I know.
Yeah.
But it feels so good to finally get it off my chest. I'm just going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sick. Corey, so what you do is, you know this, but I'm just going to explain it. So you do the scene, right? You do the master lock-off shot, and they go and they do close-ups. And, so I had been there off camera, behind camera, doing my lines for Corey for his motivation, So the script supervisor, you don't have to read with the script supervisor. And sometimes they're amazing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the directors will do it. So they're just the first AD. Sometimes they're amazing and you get what you need. Sometimes they read like this, and you have to react to blah, blah, blah. He says blah, 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 blah. And your reaction is, and it's like, really? So I was there for Corey, all in it, like, full on bringing it over the top, Whitney, even more so to give him more energy, because I remember he was kind of starting to dip down a little. He'd get really hyper and then he'd dip down. I'm like, okay, is the heroin kicking in, or what are we doing? And at the time, I didn't know that he was on drugs, but I've always had really good intuition. Yeah. And just kind of knew things without knowing them. And I'm kind of like this is why I want to know Leanne. We would hit it off. Like, I'm fully into all the same stuff she was talking about, the aliens, all of it. Yeah. I am a white witch. So I wish I could have done some powers on him at the time. Anyway, so it was time for me to do mine. And it was, okay, Corey, and I heard somebody else say this too. Come out, Andrea, and Whitney's doing her thing. And we would all call each other by our real names too. It wasn't. And so it was like, okay, Corey, knock, knock, knock. Corey, come out. I'm not going to. Are you fucking kidding me? I went over, I was like, bang, 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 bang. And 103 temperature, 102, but sick. Yeah. I'm like, Corey, get your ass out. Get your ass out of here. I'm not coming out, Whitney. And I was like, motherfucker. Yeah. Suck it. So I was like, okay, I can do this. My first movie. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. I've just, I haven't had this much rain. And she was so, like I said, she was so loose with direction. It was just, and action, and it was Whitney had a lot of big kind of ew and, and barfing and the whole, running down the hallway, pretending like I was going to barf was one of my favorite things to do.
I gotta tell you, I interviewed Deborah. She told me to take the interview down.
Why?
She didn't like the way her voice sounded over the phone, and I think she couldn't remember certain things, and I didn't even know what she was talking about. And at the time, I was offended, but now I've become friends with a close friend of hers that she does business with, and she's given me a much more clearer perspective on the situation, so I'm not offended on it anymore. And the biology teacher, Peter Elbling, I've had him on. He has no memory of making the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Aww.
Yeah.
I did Out to Sea, and the director in that,
Martha Coolidge. She directed 3 of my favorite teen movies. Can you name them?
Probably not.
Valley Girl, Joy of Sex, and Real Genius.
Real Genius and Valley Girl. Hello. Okay, the Valley Girl song, by the way, killed me in junior high school. Yeah. My name is Andrea Wilson. Yep. It wouldn't stop. It was brutal.
So what were you going to say about Martha?
So anyway, No. I think she had a riding accident or something, and it hurt her. She hurt her brain, which is very sad. She was amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he wouldn't come out. So I had to do all my lines by myself. So cut to later. I'm in my, I'm changing and getting ready to leave, and and I hear Whitney. Hey, Patterson, Whitney. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I know that voice. Hey, Whitney. And I come out, and Corey's in his big ass long Cadillac, whatever. I thought it was blue, but maybe it was the white one on the movie. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I mean, a car I would love to have. It was amazing. I love old cars. But so I just remember he stopped and he was like, hey, give me $50. Now, I think it was Leanne that said he asked for $5.
Yeah.
Or he asked the crew or someone for, no, who was it? Oh, it was Steve. It was Steven that said,
yeah.
I think he needed money or something.
Well, he's famous for asking people for money.
Corey?
Yeah.
Hello. So $50. I said, for what? He was like, I need gas. I was like, you need $50 for gas? High top billing in the movie.
Yeah.
You're Corey fucking Feldman, dude. I was like, let me introduce myself. Let me introduce you to you. And he kind of looked at me, and he's like, come on, Whitney. I was like, I don't think you need $50. I'll give you a couple dollars to get yourself down to the gas station, or, enough to get you home. And I was like, actually, no, I'm not giving you any money. I was like, and jokingly, sarcastically, I said, you're just going to take it and fucking snort it up your nose, dude.
Yep.
I was like, I'm not $50. All right. What, for drugs? Gas my ass. And I said, I've got gas for you, but not the kind you want. And, I was just being just super snarky with him because I had it at that point. I was like, over you, dude. So sick. Yeah. Bye-bye. Get out of my way. And he drove off and he threw his hand up and flipped me the bird.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is for you, Pete, or for you, Whitney. Fuck you, Whitney. I was like, right back at you, Cor. Remember my name. It's Andrea.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I might have asked him a couple of times, what's my name? And he's like, Whitney. I was like, what's my real name? We've only known each other for like 10 years. Don't you remember Videopolis dancing with me? Anyway, that was sad. But yeah, he was, it was definitely all about Corey. Always.
Yep.
I was glad that I think all of my scenes were like 2 takes that we did. Yeah. Not just because she moved fast.
Low
budget, moving fast. And I was grateful because I had to go to my other job. So super shy. I was mortified when I accepted it, read the script, and had to do the fake orgasm. Like the
Yes.
Oh my God. I hadn't even kissed, had an on-screen kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I was still embarrassed dancing, doing a duet with Bill Holden. And, Michael Peters had to tell my mom to give me permission that it was okay. I was still that shy person inside. Mm-hmm. Except my family calls me Captain Justice because when it comes to putting someone in their place and they're being a jerk, I have no problem doing that, especially for other people, not so much for myself. But I think Corey might have been the first time I actually was like, go fuck yourself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, oh my God, dreading that scene, mortified. And then I just kept thinking to myself, okay, just do Harry Met Sally. When Harry Met Sally, do you faking it.
Mm-hmm.
And just see, and then oh, what are you doing? I was happy to do that part. Get off of me. Didn't even realize what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
as he was doing whatever he was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I think he was probably squeezing my knee to make me laugh or trying to make me laugh.
Or tickle you.
Yeah, I mean, it was, or, you know, I think I put my hands on the dashboard or something, and I was, you know, trying to do more with my body than with my voice. And I was like, please let this be a one taker. Please let this be a one taker. And they were like, and, you know, cut. Checking the gate. I was like, thank God, checking the gate. We're done. Okay. Yes, I love that. Anytime you hear that, it's one and done. Thank you. Or thank God, not 50 and done. But yes, I almost pulled out of the movie because of that one stupid scene. It was not stupid. I'm saying like silly for me to be that worked up about it. But I thought, oh my God, my parents. Oh my God, this is going to be so embarrassing when they watch this.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh, nice. The one thing that I wish I thought about doing, but we didn't do enough takes because, again, quick. I was so excited about the frog.
Yes.
Didn't get to do that in high school because I was on sets. I wasn't in high school. So I never got to dissect a frog. I sat down, oh my God, smelled the formaldehyde and I did think I was going to throw up from that. And then I'm an animal lover. So I see this. I thought it was going to be like a rubber frog. No, this frog was pinned and exposed in all its glory.
Yeah.
And I was just like, can I just give it like CPR, like mouth to mouth? And, you know, and I'd get close to it, be like, they're like, whatever you do, just don't get too close and smell it. Of course, that's what, like, don't push the button, and you push the button.
Yeah.
Don't touch the stove. I'm going to touch the stove. Yeah. I was like, oh God, why did I do that? They told us not to. So anyway, so we were sitting there, and when she pulled out the sushi, and ate it, she goes, I just love frog. Yeah, and I was like, whatever I said, and then she was like, I'd rather be, or is it you're gross or something?
Yeah.
And she said, I'd rather be gross than Whitney, or whatever she said.
I'd rather be weird than Whitney. That's earlier in the movie.
Oh, I was like, you're weird. So thank you for. I wish I had the script. I still have Kids Incorporated script. It's wild. So yeah, I'd rather be. Yeah, that would be really cool to have that actually. I'd rather be weird than Whitney. The last take, I was like ready to do it. I actually had hashi. I had chopsticks, and I was gonna take chopsticks and take the sushi and eat it. Take it from her and eat it, and be like, I love frog too. It's delicious. Just to see what she would do, because I wanted so badly to be in the group and make her laugh. You know, instead of them hating us, because it really, like, they kind of, like, when we got together, all we saw was them hating us. So I was like, well, I don't like this part of this movie. I don't like this part, because everything I did, we would, all the dancers, all of the actors, we'd hang out and just have a blast. And this is the one time I was like, oh man, shucks, you know, shit, I didn't get to do that. So I didn't quite have the experience that the other people had, but I don't know. Have you talked to Jason Lively or anybody else that he had that experience? He's
never gotten back to me. I've wanted his sister Robin on forever because I love Teen Witch, you know, but no.
Oh yeah.
No, so no. It's been you, Patrick, Leanne, Michael, Deborah, and Peter. That's it.
God, see, and I look back now, I'm going to go back and look at everything I've done, or even just the IMDb, and be like, okay, tell me how I would know all of these people, because had I known back then that Jason Lively was who he was, I would have been like, oh my God, I love your movie. Oh my God, I love Vacation. Oh my God, I love it. I just wouldn't have stopped. I would have it's probably a good thing. I would have made him crazy. I would have been like, sign this. A couple
quick things about Rock and Roll High School Forever before we move on. I wanted to bring up to you. So I showed this movie to my dad 30 years ago, and that part at the beginning, You know, when everyone's dancing and being crazy, and the preppies are still in Mrs. Grossman's classroom, and
Mrs.
Whitney
Grossman
says, "This immature attitude is an insult to Reagan High and an insult to wonderful teachers with standards like you, Mrs. Grossman." I showed that to my dad 30 years ago, and do you know what he said when Whitney said that? Lion bitch.
He said what?
Lion bitch.
Brown nosing bitch.
Yes.
Brown noser. Oh, completely. I had my nose so far up her ass. Oh yeah, but that was one of my favorite lines to deliver. It was like, "And to you," with my shoulder. I was like, because that was one of my, I think that was one of our first scenes, and so it was like I got to establish, like, and really own the character. Then I was like, okay, I got her. Like I feel her now. I feel her.
Can you guess what girl in this movie was a staple of my hard-ons as a kid?
The girl with the boobs.
They all had boobs.
No, the one that was between the legs as she licked down. No.
Sarah Buxton.
Yeah, Sarah Buxton.
She's gorgeous. Oh my God.
She is gorgeous.
Yes.
She's beautiful.
She is so gorgeous. And I thought Michael Severus was a better Eagle Bower than Clint Howard. And I've met Clint Howard. He's a sweet guy. But Severus, he brought this comedic charm to it. I mean...
He was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the horse meat scene is hilarious. The he's videotaping the BDSM with Dr. Vader and that guy. And then and she sees him and he's like, what's up, Doc?
Yeah. And actually, he hung out. Like, he was there a little bit. So I got to... I just watched it. We actually had some good laughs together. He was a really cool dude. Yeah. He was great in it. He was great. It was silly, but it was, he was amazing in it.
Was Mary Woronov intimidating? Because I heard she can be.
Vader?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. But, oh yeah, she was, apparently that's just her, but she was in character. Like, I was like, oh, she's full fucking method. Yeah. So when we walked in and we were like, Dr. Vader, and we sat down, and we were saying what we had to say to her, which you could probably recite the entire thing. And the guards were behind us. Yeah. They were making us laugh. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God.
I could see it on your face. Yeah.
I was like, don't break, Andrea. She is so freaking serious. Don't break. They were so funny. They were freaking frack, the two of them. I loved watching them. I loved them. And I was so excited. I was like, I get to do a scene with Vader and the dudes. Yes, this is amazing. Amazing. So yeah, that was a highlight. That was cool. She was rad.
A zillion kisses. Love in a laundromat.
Totally. And I did see that. I thought that they did bring back a couple of lines from the original.
They probably did. And
I was trying to find which ones they were, but I watched it last night. I was so tired. But yeah, that was interesting.
And Larry Linville played Mr. McGree. Paul Bartel played him in the first one. And they're two different MASH. Guys, two different energies, but Linville is great when he's like, I tried to like all my students, but some were more fun than others. You know what I mean? I love that.
Wait, is that the principal?
Yeah, at the end during the video reveals at the prom.
Yes.
It's fake. Turn it off.
He was awesome. He was awesome. So he was in MASH, right?
Yeah, he was Frank Burns.
Yes. Okay. I used to watch MASH religiously every night with my grandma and grandpa upstairs. Murder, She Wrote, MASH, The Tonight Show. She'd tickle my arm. If I had known and recognized that was him, again, massive freak out on my side.
Yeah. I loved MASH as a kid.
I'm so not phased in them. I'm just focused and doing my thing. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, we're all here. We're doing it. And I'm like, now I look back at my 53-year-old self, and I look back at my child, I'm like, you dummy! Yeah. Like, how did you not recognize these people? Yeah. What's wrong with you? Like, oh my God. And I look at, like, I've had such a amazing, my life has just been crazy amazing with all these people I've been so lucky to work with.
So tell me about the mask.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So Jerry Evans choreographed that. Mm-hmm. He also choreographed a lot for Reba McEntire's tour. Yeah. I went on tour with Reba for nine months again. And excuse me. Mm-hmm. And hold on a second. Get a sip. I have coffee. More milk for my frog in my throat. Oh, the frog. There it is. Yeah. Ooh, Leanne's doing a number on me right now. Yeah, the mask was amazing. Well, I say it was amazing. I always say it's the best job I never did. Mm-hmm. Because I was supposed to be when he's in full makeup, Jim Carrey, which was wild in person. It was the coolest makeup when he was fully masked up. And, I loved him from, Fire Marshal Sam. Yep. I loved him when he did
Living Color.
In Living Color. And so I was a bit of a fan. Cameron Diaz was, I have to say, at that point, she was a total nightmare.
Yeah.
I think it was her first film.
It got out.
She was not the nicest.
Yeah.
She was a prima donna and pretty bitchy to all of us, mm-hmm. Especially the girls. And I think that all stemmed from insecurity because of her lack of dancing, maybe.
Yeah.
And we were all professional dancers around her. So I had to leave. I only worked for 1 or 2 days and had to leave because I was being followed around by E! Entertainment because I was cast in a movie. The working title, I believe, was Ball House Jam. Mm-hmm. And we were doing an audition that I had to be at. It was like a West Side Story, but for Kenny, that Kenny was doing. And it was like Olympia Dukakis was going to be in it. Rita Moreno was going to be in it. So I was going to be the leader of the Northern Italian girls. Mm-hmm. Oh, we had the most amazing table read for that, by the way. So I only had a little while. I was like, Jerry, I'll do this, but it's got to be in my contract. You have to let me out by this time. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that big of a deal because there were so many bodies dancing in that scene. Mm-hmm. But so it was a lot of hurry up and wait, which most of the time it is.
Yeah.
And they were corralling, a lot of people around. So everyone kind of left the set for a while to take a break, and they were getting the extras and together. And so I was sitting there, and I smoked cigarettes at that point. And, I hiding it from my parents, of course. They finally found out, but I was like, I smoke. I think I finally actually smoked a cigarette in front of my mom, mm-hmm. and it was fabulous. I think she tried smoking one time in her life and coughed and was like, I will never do this again. My dad was never a smoker. But anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you that. Anywho, so I sat there, and I'm just standing there, and I wanted to have a cigarette, and I was going to go outside, and Jim Carrey said, "You want a cigarette?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." And I'm thinking, should this guy? At first I thought, okay, because he had a stand-in, a double, that did a lot of the crazy dancing, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, I think, and he sat in Jim Carrey's director's chair, or his chair. Looks like a director's chair. Yeah. And I thought, and right next to it was Cameron Diaz's chair. And I thought, oh, this is Jim Carrey. This isn't, he's tall. Oh yeah, this is, okay. Because sometimes it's hard to tell. And when you're fully masked in that makeup. And he was like, he lit my cigarette for me. And he was like, and I said, well, I'll leave you alone. He was like, no, sit and talk. He was the coolest. the nicest dude.
Mm-hmm.
Funny as funny as shit. I did fire marshal. He was like, he said, let me see Fire Marshal Bill. I was like, I can't. Oh, now I'm echoing. I said, I can't do it. He was like, let me do it. And so I dried my lips and I was like, Fire Marshal Bill, and he was like, close. And he was like, that was really good. Now do it like this. And we went back and forth. It was one of the highlights of my life.
Let me show you something.
Let me show you something. Yeah.
Love it.
And they just charred. Just the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, no lips. I love it. I got to have a cigarette with him, and I think I got to maybe do 2 or 3 takes, and then I started to leave, and he was like, where? And also, I was like, I don't want to sit in her chair. And he goes, oh, sit in her chair. Who cares?
Yeah.
He was like, I won't tell. So, okay. And I was like, immediately we were just like friends, down to earth. You know, and he was still in, that was when he was still kind of wild and would do the voices a lot.
Yeah.
And he would just make you laugh your ass off. He wasn't quite as calm and into his art or that we knew about at the time.
Right.
But amazing. And I got more residuals from that damn movie than I think anything I've done. So I joke around. I'm like, it's the greatest movie I never did. Because I don't even think I'm seen in it. I'm in the credits.
My dad took me to see it at the drive-in when I was 11, and it was so awesome. It was the second movie. We thought it was going to be the first. Alec Baldwin's movie, The Shadow, was first, and I was bored by that movie. But we saw it, and we enjoyed it. It was so funny. Yeah,
it was good. It was a good movie. But I just couldn't get. I watched it. I was like, the whole time I was like, I smoked cigarettes with Jim Carrey, dude. Like that's all I need to say. Like, yes, it was a great movie. I smoked with him. He's amazing. He's such a cool dude.
He is.
And then I just was floored at how down to earth he was.
Mm-hmm.
And just cool in the makeup. Like I even said to him, I remember saying like, because I've had to wear, so many things like prosthetics and stuff. And it's like, actually went to school and became a makeup artist as well. But I said to him, like, don't you just want to rip that off your face? I just like, it's making me crazy for you. And he was like, well, it's not too bad. He's like, I can still smoke my cigarettes. I was like, how are you not flammable?
Yeah.
How are you? Am I going to have to be Fire Marshal Bill? I think that's probably how the conversation started about Fire Marshal Bill, was having to put him out. And then so that was a really good time, but it was only a couple of days, and I wished I could have worked on it longer, but it was great. It was a great experience.
Did you get to interact with Lemon and Mathau on Out to Sea?
Oh, did I?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost that was probably the highlight of my career, like my later in life career. I say later in life, I was in my 20s, but and Brent Spiner and I became Data.
Yep.
He played Gil Godwin. We became super close friends.
Yep.
So I assisted Kim Blank. I started just as an assistant. Kim Blank was the choreographer. She was one of Michael Peters' dancers, as was I. And so she knew that I used to assist Michael. And so now I didn't do ballroom, but we had ballroom people that would come in and help.
Yeah. And
so we would work privately, one-on-one with Walter. And then Jack would come in, and Gloria DeHaven, who was a lot. A lot. It was, I have vertigo. I can't. It was like, okay, princess, you're in a dance movie. You're going to have to turn. Are you kidding me? I can't turn. But, oh my God. So Jack Lemmon, my grandfather was an incredible musician. Mm-hmm. He was a studio musician. and he died when I was 10. He was 60 years old, way too young. He had a heart attack. But he could play anything and everything. He played, I think, was it Patty Paige? He played on records, and and he played in a lot of the clubs with, blues clubs, and amazing.
Yeah.
He's constantly talking to me. I hear my grandpa all the time. He's with me all the time. So, but Jack Lemmon looked so much like my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
So much. And at one point, and this is after we had been working together, and I was pretty much done with my stuff, but I went back onto the Queen Mary to hang out just to watch their scenes.
Yeah.
And Jack was there with his dog. He had a poodle, like the standard tall poodle.
Right.
And every single time I was like, well, Jack, do you want me? I was Mr. Lemmon. He would always say Jack. I was like, Jack, which is my dad's name too. Jack, would you like me to take her? And he would say, oh no, watch. And she was by his side all the time. And it was, up to his hip, right? Mm. And it was, all right. And hit your marks, and ready, Jack, and action. She'd lay down. And cut. She'd stand up and walk over to him. Amazing. So we're in the bar area. He sits down and he starts playing piano. Tears come down my face, because I would play piano with my grandpa when I would stay with him. I would he would have me put my fingers on his fingers while he had his rum and Coke or bourbon and Coke, I think. And he would make me like a pretend one. And then he would smoke his cigarettes, and he would buy me the fake cigarettes. And so it was awesome. And so, and he would call me his Mick America. I was like, Grandpa, it's Miss America. No, you're special. You're Mick America to me. So I told Jack this, and I brought a picture of my grandpa. And I'd been telling him through the whole movie. And then he looked at me and he said, get over here, you. Come here. And I was like, me? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, what's up? Do you need something? And he was like, I need you to sit down next to me. And I sat down, and he said, he opened the piano and started playing. And I pulled the picture out of my grandpa, because I had it on me, like ready to show him. And I set it on, I said, here's my grandpa. And I set it on the piano. I wish somebody had taken a picture of that. And he said, well, I'll be damned, he does look like me. I do look like your grandfather. Holy. He was like, now I know why, now I get it. And I was like, oh my God, you even embody him. Like, not to take anything away from you, but he's like one of the greatest people. It was one of the greatest people on the planet. And Jack Lemmon, I adored him. Walter Matthau would call me his little Marilyn, and we'd be dancing, rehearsing, and he'd tickle me and go, a coochie coochie coo, a coochie coochie coo, with those long fingers. And I'd be like, ah! I was like, stop it, Walter, stop it, a coochie coochie coo, my little Marilyn. And it pissed Kim Blank off, I think. And I got to the point where it was like, and you're going to just play, I'm going to dance with them, and you're just going to play, and, the tape recorder, and then rewind it and play. And I'm like, okay, but don't you want to see what they're doing so you can adjust it? And then finally Walter and Jack said, no, we want to dance with Andrea. I was like, oh shit. In the rehearsals, just when it was one-on-one. And then, so it would be him, then Walter, and then leave, and then Brent Spiner would come in. And one day I was crying. I just had it. I was exhausted, and I went outside, and I had gotten myself together, but Brent saw my face, and he was like, all right, what's this about? What's going on? Are you okay? And I said, no, not really. And he said, what's going on? And I said, nothing. And he was like, listen, you're going to have to tell me what's happening, because this is not going to be okay with me. I was never a Star Trek fan. I wasn't, he was just the sweetest. He was the sweetest they were all, okay, you know that the best of the best are there. They work their asses off. They don't complain. They do it.
Right.
They get their shit done. They are so kind to everybody. It's the princesses and the, you know, the people that are insecure, which was, I have to say, Gloria DeHaven was one of them. Probably the one. I feel bad saying that, but yeah, and it was just, you know, complain, and I just watched that and I thought, man, I will never be that person. It was a really good learning experience, but they all protected me. It was really interesting. And at one point, and then they decided that they wanted me to be in the movie as one. This happened a lot. They wanted me to be in the movie as one of the dancers on the ship. So, did you see the movie?
I saw it a long time ago. It wasn't my favorite of their collaborations. Yeah,
well.
Sorry.
Tommy, we're ending this conversation now. How could you? No, fine. And so Brent Spiner, who played Gil Godwin, cracked my ass up because he was like, I'm going to introduce myself. I was like, let me, and I was one of the dancers in the pink dress, you know, we did sway and we got to choreograph it. Brent was like, let's just choreograph this together. So we went off to the side and choreographed it together. And it was one of the funniest things I've ever done. It was, you know, Sharon Ferguson, who's amazing. She was the one that danced with me. She was pussy control for Prince. Yeah. amazing dancer, and so many dance. So there was a big group of dancers that we all went on and did like the big like opening number, and then you know they would do shots of Gil going off stage while we're dancing, and he's talking to them, going, "Get in line," you know, like shirts up, button up. You know, where were you? Whatever. I'm doing a horrible, he's going to laugh at me. I'm doing a horrible impersonation of Brent. But he was the best. And I was like, okay, Brent, when you introduce yourself, I'm going to hold the microphone for you and walk out holding it for you as you introduce yourself. Don't just, he was like, oh my God, yeah, I'm not going to do it backstage. I'm going to walk on introducing myself. And then we did Sway. The dance Sway, and then this wasn't choreographed. We were holding the pose, right? And Brent's watching Walter just destroy his career, like Brent's career, because he was such a bad dancer. Because they snuck on being bad dance hosts, right? And Eileen Strick, oh my God, amazing. Diane Cannon, amazing. They were the coolest. Yeah. Eileen was no bullshit. She is exactly who you think she is. She is, but funny, sarcastic, one of the best. You can tell she's been around for a long time and won't take any shit from anybody. Yeah. Anyway, so you can, Brent is in just as Gil Godwin is getting increasingly more and more distressed and fucking frustrated, and he has no hands because he's holding us, and he's supposed to start singing again, and he's looking at them, and I just with my right hand grabbed the microphone stand and pulled it into him, holding my pose, which was like one of my favorite moments. But the best, besides having a great friendship with Brent and knowing all the other dancers and learning some ballroom myself, which now I actually help it was my partner on Dirty Dancing, the series, umpteen years ago when I was 17, my friend Jay Fuentes is amazing. He's like a brother to me. He is teaching at USC, and I started taking classes from him and coming back from not feeling well, and I'm having knee surgery. I couldn't even stand at that point, and now I'm dancing again because of him. And anyway, so I actually am now learning proper ballroom and teaching it, helping to teach it to USC students. So that's pretty rad. Little side note there, but so one of my all-time favorite movies, again, full circle moment for me, was Singin' in the Rain, of course. But I loved Donald O'Connor.
The best.
Make him laugh, make him laugh, make him laugh.
He spent a week in bed after doing that scene, by the way.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
I will watch it over and over. And you see, I mean, it's like almost one continuous shot. Mm-hmm. It's wild. Back then, he was amazing. I mean, dance with his friggin' face, this guy. It was wild. So his timing was impeccable. And he was a tapper. They were the contract players, man, they had it, pummeled into them. So anyway, I was just, oh my God, this is Donald O'Connor. Holy. And I had one of those moments, but playing it cool, Every day without fail, he would come up to my trailer and he would knock on my door and say, "My dearest, may I escort you to lunch?" I mean, are you kidding? Yes. And even when I didn't want to eat, yes. Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Donald, stop that. They would all do that. Donald. And I was like, Donald, thank you.
Yeah.
And then, so I have a picture, which at the end he signed for me, and it was to my beautiful and talented friend, love, Donald O'Connor. And the writing is almost off, so I'm like, must frame and go on my wall. Like, where has this been? I have so many boxes that things just go into the box. I try and keep a little, I have my Whitney, by the way, Whitney Patterson plaque, my name, from the auditions when we were, auditioning the bands.
Wow.
That's the one thing I have in my, and
that is so awesome.
That was, Donald O'Connor was, and
a hero of yours.
Jack, a hero, a total hero.
Yeah.
And they were all such gentlemen. Mm-hmm. And I mean, every time I'd see Walter and he would say, I love you, my little Marilyn. Yeah. I love you, my Marilyn. And he would, with his long fingers, I cried like a baby when they passed, both of them. Yeah. I was definitely in mourning over that. And Donald, it was rough, but it was their time, and they had amazing, crazy careers. What else? I'm trying to think of. There's something else I was going to tell you specifically.
About Out to Sea?
At the end of it, about Out to Sea. So at the end, they all dance when the credits come up.
Right.
If you watch it long enough, the credits come up, and they're all dancing. And he said, Andrea, will you go do my Foley work? I said, now Stan Mason was my tap teacher, and Tina Casbury, like from Focus on Fame. Stan Mason is a famous tapper, and he was in History of the World, one of my all-time favorite movies ever. I love Mel Brooks. Huge Mel Brooks fan. So, he was in The Inquisition. He did all of that. So anyway, Stan taught me how to tap, but I would say I was a really good faker at tapping. Yeah. Because it just wasn't my forte. I didn't stay in it long enough. Right. So I said, Donald, you really, no. And I can't believe I said, I cannot believe I'm saying no to you. I don't know how to say no to you, but I don't want to do you, I would do you great disjustice, justice, like, no way. And he said, no, please. He's like, there's nobody else I would rather have do this for me. I went in and did his Foley tapping, and he, at the showing of it, said, my dear, fabulous work. Mm-hmm. And I think sat in my car and cried. Enjoy.
Wow.
Just happy tears. So, I mean, what a gift.
That is a gift. A really good gift.
Yep.
What made you get into poetry?
Oh, gosh. So, I wasn't a big reader. My brother and my mom were avid readers. They could go through a novel in 2 days. Mm-hmm. I think with my ADHD, I just couldn't sit. Also, I was just very I had to be moving. Even when I watch movies, I have to knit, I have to do a puzzle, I have to do play cards or do something.
Mm-hmm.
So and I loved, Shel Silverstein was my, Dr. Seuss was my dad's favorite. Shel Silverstein. I really learned to read by children's poetry. So I started writing children's poetry when I was a child. And then, and so I was going to put a little book together one day for my kids, and one day I will do that. And then I just kept writing and writing, and I have probably over 150 poems and now they're kind of just download poems. I write within I'll just get an inspiration, and 5 minutes I write it. And then I finally, after all these years, have gone back and started editing a little bit.
Nice.
But I would just leave it alone. So that's why, because I would read plays, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and play all the parts.
Right.
I'd sit in my room, and when I was little, and that's what I would read. Night Mother, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time, by the way, and I've talked to Candy, the prostitute.
Yeah. Oh, and my favorite part to do was Billy.
Billy Bibbit. Yeah.
Oh, I love doing. So I was always I could cry. I could very easily tap into emotion. It would just bubble up, and it wasn't something I have to think of something really sad. It would just, I would just immerse myself and kind of get lost in it.
Yeah. And
I literally would play every part. It was just interesting. So that's how I read. Rather than reading, I think I read maybe 1 or 2 Judy Blume books and Tales of the City, Palaquella, and The Alchemist, and I write now. I'll read a lot of spiritual books.
Nice.
Now, being a life coach, I'm a life coach, and I say intuitive counselor because I hate the term coach. And I was doing this before it was a thing to do. I love psychology. I love abnormal psychology.
Yeah.
Loved it. So clearly by watching, Joan Crawford.
Yeah.
I mean, and and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. And
fuck yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to be in Nightmare on Elm Street so bad. He was the
I'm
scariest.
so glad you weren't, because you would have been really fucked up. I know all those people. Oh my God. Yeah. It's nothing to write home about. I'll tell you stories unrecorded sometime.
I could not. I don't think I could do it, because just seeing the sweater, or the hat, to this day, during Halloween, I'm like, nope, I can't even walk by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a dreamer. I dream a lot, and I lucid dream. So that for me was one that was oh, and I connected to it because of it. And I would, in my sick brain was I gotta watch it again. I gotta watch it again. I gotta watch it again. But I would terrorize myself. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
How am I helping other people? What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah. And what's the update on your health? I mean, with the Lyme disease and everything, are you okay?
Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't be here. I'm in late stage Lyme disease. I'm cooking, man. I'm, just, I think it's your mindset and energy healing. I do Reiki and energy healing, and I meditate, and I do my tarot cards and my runes, and and you know what, the more I'm just in alignment with myself. I think I've always had depression and anxiety, especially after I had my kids. I had really bad, and PTSD. I was abused for 30 years, and had to go for 2 years in a row to put my mentor of 30 years, dance mentor, behind bars, which was very difficult, and lost a lot of friends, and felt very frightened to be. That's part of the reason I left too, not just my line. Left the dance community for a period of time, and because I just thought in the courtroom, everyone was on that side of the room behind him.
Yeah.
And, you know, my dad said, you're going to show up and you're going to, you know, no one's going to be behind you. Even though I was doing it for me and my students and my friends, I was like, they were like, you fucking bitch, you traitor, yeah, we had to be escorted out to our cars. We were having death threats and wildness. So, you know, that didn't help the health, but it also, I look at it like every single thing that I've gone through. I mean, I knew when I was 5 years old, I said to my parents, I saw a veil go over my face, and I'm not a religious person. I can say I'm religious and spiritual now.
I'm spiritual.
Not of any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not of any particular religion. I believe that in one God, you know, and God is within all of us, and I won't get into all of that. But, you know, I mean, listen, you can hear things in the trees and the wind, and I want tattooed on my body for my mom, the winds of heaven dance between us.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a beautiful quote that I found.
It's cute.
Yeah. Anyway, so I look at all of the shit. I had sort of that victim, why me? This is fucked up. I worked so hard.
I've been there.
I know you. I mean, my friend, I know your story. I don't know. I mean, I think you've talked about it before.
Yep, a lot.
Yeah. And I was never in a coma. I think I lived on pain pills to get through it, to be able to raise my kids, to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Because with Lyme, I had Lyme disease, Hashimoto's, and I have ankylosing spondylitis. And listen, Lyme disease, this is Lyme Awareness Month, so it's a good time to talk about it. I'm an open book because I want other people to understand Lyme is everywhere. It's actually in mosquitoes, anything that can bite you, and, you know, blood going both ways, you can get it. So, yeah, it's everywhere. Who just came out with it? Noah Kahn, Alec Baldwin,
Daryl Hall.
So many people. So many people have it.
Yep.
And I was. They didn't find it in me for a long time. So they just said, I went to see a hospital in LA, famous hospital in LA, whatever, big one, and went to the head of rheumatology. I just called, was like, I'm going. My dad went in with me, and I said, I feel like shit. I can't recover. I don't know what's going on. Here's my blood work. And he was like, oh, you just have fibromyalgia. And that's a total wastebasket diagnosis.
Right.
Fibromyalgia is a product of other things that are going on. So I suffered from a lot of anxiety. I had anxiety growing up. I just danced. I was able to dance and get it out. But when I got sick, it didn't have anywhere to go. And when you're a creative person, if the creativity isn't going out, it will eat you inside. Right. Eat you up inside. It is gnarly. It's nasty. And I have an incredible mentor. She's like a spiritual guru for me. She's, she's the person that the therapists go to for help. Her name is Becky Loving. She's amazing. And I've been going to her for over 20 years. Wow. She's like family to me. And she taught me, how to work through a lot of it. And you look through the lens of love or fear. And it's pretty simple. And so we want to switch to love as much as we can without getting into all that craziness again, because I'll go deep, and I don't want to do that to you.
Thank you.
Right now. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I can throw a few more F-bombs out there. So I laid in fucking bed for a really long time, had a pity party, and then was like, the pity party's over. Andrea, get the fuck up. And I just eventually realized, you know what? All of these things I was like, had this awakening, like, I didn't go through all of this shit for no reason. I went through this stuff to be a better person, to fix shit. I believe we come back and fix stuff that we couldn't do in past lives. We grow, we get better if we choose to.
Right.
It's, do you choose to or do you not? Some people just want to stick their heads in the sand. That's their problem. Everyone's got a path. Not my place. It's not, also, I learned it's not my place to worry and be concerned about what other people think of me.
Right.
I used to say I have a 0 shits to give, but you need 1 or 2 because you got to have a little bit of an ego to protect yourself.
Right.
But yeah, so my daughter is standing there. Say hi, Maddie. Madeline, standing here. My daughter is standing here. She said, okay, my daughter was standing here. She said, hi. Hi.
Hi.
She's waving.
Hi.
Tommy says hi. Hi to everybody. Hi to the folks.
Okay.
So yeah, so I just believe that everything has a purpose, and that's part of why I wanted to coach, counsel, coach, just be there for people, and turn it around. And I don't think I would be the person I am today. I think I would be very probably selfish. I think I was a little more selfish, as you should be when you're growing up, a little more self-centered, selfish.
Right.
And, you know, being in the industry, being sheltered and stuff, even though I went through crap that, you know, I had to hide a lot of and dealt with on my own, you know, that I look at it and go, fuck it, you know, I'm right. This is my story, and this is who I get to choose to be in my story. I'm not the victim. So yeah, Lyme is difficult. It's not easy. I just listened to my body. My husband found this amazing thing that helps explain to other people, like for people that have any chronic illness, it's sort of the analogy of how many spoons in your drawer do you have to use that day. So I would say to my kids growing up, like, mommy's got 1 spoon today. Mm-hmm. What do we want to do with the 1 spoon? And so, you know, it was a great excuse to not have to do laundry. It was a great excuse to not have to do the chores and the bullshit that I didn't want to do. But no, I got up and I had 2 kids to take care of and love and raise and wanted to be here for, and that got me through it, and my family and the love of living in life. And I wasn't done. I'm not done. And I love learning every flippin' day I learn. I just want to keep learning, and it's magical. To me, I believe in magic. I believe that life is what you make of it, and I see it as magic. Not every day, but every bad thing that's happened, I can turn around and say that later. I might not know now. Oh my God, that's why that happened. Right. That person came into my life because of this. If this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have them in my life. I wouldn't have this understanding for them.
That's so wonderful. That's such a wonderful philosophy to have, Andrea. I really admire you for that.
Well, and I kind of almost feel like, you know, I'm kind of a person that also believes in, we have our tribes, you know, people that come in and out of our lives at different times. It's like you don't have one friend for everything, right? You have a friend that you can travel with. You have a friend that you can go to a movie with or shopping with or whatever. Friend, you'd be like, hell no, I'm never going to travel with you again. Found out the hard way, you know. But that's the beauty of it. And I feel like, so holding on to people for too long, I've learned that it's important to have discernment and let go of expectations of people. And also that people come into your life when they're supposed to. It's, to me, at this stage, like if we had this conversation years ago, it wouldn't have been this conversation.
Probably.
It would have been a very, on my side, it would have been a very just, oh yeah, this is what I did, and you know,
I've been through that conversation with a lot of people, trust me.
Yeah, and I'm an open book, man, you know? Yeah. I love, you know, I freaking love animals. I know I'm off path if animals and babies ignore me. I'm like, what's going on? I'm fucking Snow White with the sailor's mouth. What's happening?
Yeah. I love it.
Anyway, but so how do you look at what you've been through? I mean, what you went through was crazy.
Well, I had to be an asshole in my younger years to get to where I am now, and stuff is the way I see it. But I still have a lot of PTSD of the ways I treated people and the way they treated me and stuff. You know, that I'm still trying to work through.
Mm. And how do you work through it?
I haven't. I mean, I have, but it's just like I don't know. I don't know who to talk to, because we live in this judgment-addled society now. Like, I don't know who to trust anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm. You can talk to me. You got me now. See, maybe that's why I'm in your life.
Maybe that's why.
And yeah, and vice versa. I mean, I have a lot to learn from you.
Yes.
That's again where I was like, I want to hang out with Leanne.
Yeah.
You know? I know I've said that 50 million times. Leanne, I want to hang out with you.
I'm going to connect you. I'm going to do my best. I promise.
No, I know. I'm not giving you a hard time.
I know.
I was just making a point that, I would have been scared to hang out with her before. Now I'm like, girl, let's go fucking rage, you know?
Yeah.
Let's hang. Let's talk some shit.
Yeah.
So, well, I see you as an incredible mind, this incredible historian. I love that you love the craft and the artistry and, movies that other people would brush off and think were just ridiculous and stupid. You can find the beauty and the laughter and, I don't love critiquing. It's entertainment to me.
Right. Right.
I mean, sure, we can all go, that movie wasn't the best, but it was still entertaining.
Yeah. And,
I mean, like Kids Incorporated, I now have 3-4 really good friends. They're like I'm the big sister. They call me, Big Sis. Mm-hmm. And my friend Tony Corso and Nikki Weir and Jennifer, Jojo, and they were fans of Kids Incorporated. And I met them doing a live stream. Mm-hmm. We all started talking because the dude that did the live stream, Sky Charlie, ended up being a total ass to me and just saying horrible things about me after. It was really odd. And I did 2 for him. And it was really strange. And everyone that would stick up for me was like, every time they'd put something up, he'd take it down and say more shit about me. It's like, what are you doing? It didn't even make sense. Anyway, but the beauty of it is, thank you, Charlie, for being such an ass, because through that, I met your moderators that stuck up for me and quit working with him, and they're family to me now. They're part of my tribe. In fact, Tony just came out and hung out with me for 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
like
really awesome.
I love meeting people, and I love it. I love connecting.
Absolutely.
So anytime you want to connect, anytime you want help, I deal with PTSD. I know what that is. And it's different for all of us. I understand. I'm always a person to listen. I don't have to coach you, but I can give you help. Just a shoulder or an ear, whatever you need. I'm here, man.
Absolutely. I would love that. Real quick, we got to play my secret silly game. Did you hear me play it with anybody?
Maybe.
Okay, this is a series of silly slumber party questions. It's no win or lose. Okay. It's just pure fun. And how the game works is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me that exact same question, and I answer it. And feel free to comment on the answers because they might be funny.
Okay, freaking love it. Okay, go.
Okay, Andrea, are you ticklish?
Yeah, very. Tommy, are you ticklish?
Yes, but if you tickle me without warning, I might hit you in the groin.
Yes, me too. Ditto. Ding, ding, ding. Okay.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
Oh, I did hear these. Tommy, my belly button used to be an outie and is now an innie.
That's
Tommy,
cute. I love it.
is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It also started out as an outie and became an innie.
And do you get funk out of it?
Oh yeah, I get.
Crust.
I get lint. Yeah.
Crust. Yeah. You have to like get in there and dig out the crust. Gross.
Yep. What color are your toenails painted?
Sadly, no color right now, which is odd for me.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, what color are you? Oh my God, I'm like, ugh. So I do have a concussion, y'all. I'm dealing with that. Sorry. I'm doing my best. I have 2 concussions on top of one another. So Tommy,
yeah.
What color are your toenails painted?
Light purple.
Why light purple? I love it.
I love elaborate colors.
Elaborate colors?
Yes.
Is it like a violet?
Yes.
That was my grandma's favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
Violet. I was listening to a meditation once that my roommate brought home. And we're laying there, and she's like, just relax, Andrew. It was the first time I tried to meditate. He's like, think of the color violet. And I couldn't. That was it for me. I fell out. I was like, we're done. It became a joke. So,
what would you say is your best personality trait?
I would say a straight shooter.
Okay. That's good.
And I love love.
Oh.
I love to laugh. A straight shooter with the mouth of a sailor, and I love to laugh. What's your best personality trait?
I have empathy. I have empathy, and I have no filter.
Yes. Now, I have another question to add to that.
What?
So, are you empathic or empathy?
I'm empathic.
Yeah, you are. I can tell. So, are you like a funnel? How are you empathic? How does your empathic, because that's something that not everyone
I'm
has.
very inclusive of people. I know what it's like to be cast aside. I know what it's like to be bullied. I just, it's like kryptonite to me.
So when you walk in or you meet someone, can you feel it without them saying anything?
Yep, I can.
Like, where do you feel it in your body? I'm just curious. I love asking people this.
A gut instinct, stomach.
Yeah. Does it make you feel ugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super empathic too. And I think that's, for a long time, I didn't know. I think that's part of, I'm like a sponge. People would come and just dump people I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And my daughter, I was like, no, you don't understand. I'll go to, the reason Mommy was in Starbucks was for so long was because she's like, you're just picking up a drink. I'm like, I know, but this person talked to me for like 20 minutes. Yeah. I don't know. People would just come up, and I'm just open, I think, and people would come and just dump their stuff on me, and that was fine. But I would be like, when I was little, I would be crying at night a lot, and my parents would come in, and my mom was smart enough to say, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "I have no idea." And she said, "Oh, you're picking up on other people's stuff," but no one taught me how to wring it out. She said, "You're like a sponge." So I have all these ways of doing that now.
If you could have anything named after you, what would it be?
A horse.
Love it.
What about you?
A vibrator.
What would it be? And what would the actual name be?
The Tommy Chatsy.
Oh my God.
And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Sour feet.
Yes.
Ugh. Ugh. No, thank you. Yeah, yes. When people have sour feet,
yeah,
I can't. Just get away from me.
Being a dancer,
Now the smell of feet in a studio doesn't bother me, but the sour. Oh, I have a better one.
Uh-huh.
A sponge that has that before I can smell my sense of smell. I can smell a sponge that is just. Nobody else can smell the bacteria on it. I can smell it.
Yeah.
And if my husband or someone has cleaned a glass and I pick it up, or he makes me coffee in the morning, which is so sweet and very kind. And I have a hard time getting up in the morning because that's when I hurt the most. So he brings me coffee, and I'm like, oh God, how do I tell him I don't want him to have to make me another thing of coffee, and I don't want to get my ass out of bed because I'm too tired and I hurt, but I smell sponge.
Yeah.
That, I hate it. I hate it. And everyone else is like, I don't smell it. And I'm like, I secretly throw it away and then buy another one or put it in the microwave and boil that sucker.
Yeah. For me, it's either farts or feet.
It depends on... Have you noticed that certain people have the same smelling farts?
Yep.
It's like very unique to their person.
It is.
I've also noticed that when I love horseback riding, so you're going to know that if I've been around a barn or I've been riding horses.
Right.
My uncle used to have, he would do rehab and breeding on racehorses. So I was around and got to ride a lot growing up. So anyway, you will fart the smell of the barn and hay and the horses.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. And everyone's like, no. And I'm like, I swear to God, you're smelling it. You're taking it into your body. You do. You fart it out.
Here's a couple jokes for you before I send you off. What do you call a boy that doesn't masturbate?
I want to think about this. What do you call a boy that doesn't masturbate? Go ahead.
A liar.
True.
Yes.
True. Also a girl.
My mom has 2 brothers and 2 sons. She knows.
Don't let the girls lie to you.
No. And what kind of meat does a priest eat on Friday?
Oh, God. Oh, this is going to be bad. Go ahead.
None.
That's funny. That's pretty funny. I had an aunt, a great aunt. My dad's aunt was a nun. Aunt Reed.
Yeah.
Anyway. Just to top it off. Just leave it at that.
Andrea, thank you for being my 2100th guest today. This is the longest anniversary episode I've ever done. Thank you. Thank you.
I am a talker, so you're welcome. Sorry about that.
Yes.
I love it. I love you. I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm so glad we did this. And get our crew together, dude. You can do it. If anybody can do it, you can.
I don't know about that, but I'll definitely connect you with Leanne.
Okay. Well, and you and I need to keep in contact.
Yes,
for sure.
We will talk later.
All right.
And your website. Your website is AndreaPaigeWilson.com, so people can go check it out.
Yep, that's my coaching site. Yeah.
Wonderful. You have a great day. Be safe out there.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm feeling great now too. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Andrea Paige Wilson. Ain't she a sweetheart? I frickin' love her, and I'm so glad we're friends now and that we can spiritually relate to each other. And it's tremendous. This is the longest anniversary interview I've ever done, and I'm a happy guy. I just loved her. She was fabulous. Go to her website, AndreaPaigeWilson.com, and find out about her poetry and spirituality, life coaching, all of that stuff. She is the real deal. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes! If I have to go to high school forever and ever, I'm going to rock and roll high school forever and ever. Okay, I gotta stop now.